Hey chat, how you doing? So yeah, I guess we'll do a little bit of intro first, just make sure everything is working well. Anyways, yeah, we're off the jacket. I got my jacket off. Figured out a few settings, so hang on, let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. Am I too close? I'm a little more close here. Alright. I'm doing okay. Okay, I think we're doing okay. Actually, I'm just a little too zoomed in. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, that ought to do it. When it comes to VR, we have to do a lot of settings, messing around with stuff. But I think we're ready to go. Alright. So, chat. Just recently we were doing some VR stuff, messing around with things, and you know, I didn't quite have my fill of it, so we're doing a short VR stream today. Not really a game, this is more of like an educational tool kind of thing, but you know, it was one of those VR experiences more than it is an actual game. But I figured, hey, it'd be cool to check out. There's a virtual tour of the ISS, and you know, I am at least a little bit interested in this stuff. And this looks like a pretty cool learning tool. So we're out here, we're doing a little bit of a field trip, and we're going to be messing around and learning about space, real life space. Because we were just on a fictional space station, now we can check out what real space stations are like. Pretty much, that's what we're doing. Also, I wanted to get more use out of the model, you know. I haven't actually gotten around to messing around with it too much. As you can see today, I'm messing around with having my jacket off. I think I like having both my jacket on and jacket off. You know, they're both nice, design-wise. But yeah, let's take a look at some of this different stuff.
There's a few things that you can find everywhere on the space station. Velcro for one thing, or bungees, or grating, or seat belts. They're installed everywhere on all of our racks, and they allow us to attach things that are useful for us to live and work up here. For one thing, handrails. Handrails are everywhere, and we use them, of course, to hang on to, or a lot of times to put our feet under, so we have our hands free to work. There are different types of interface with the seat rack. This is actually my favorite one, because it's really easy. You just have to press on this side, and it pops out and it engages. So to attach it, we push this back in, both sides, of course. And then we align it and engage it. And it's ready to go. So now I can, for example, slide my feet under, and they're nice and secure, and I can work with my hands. Or some people find it more comfortable to use foot restraints like this one. You attach it. It's really simple to the handle, and then again you can slide your feet in. Ideally, I would have a second one, and then I can work with my hands.
It is genuinely interesting, you know.
Or
I don't know about you
many other
guys,
things
but
you can attach.
this isn't going to be much of like a game, you know. It is more of a virtual. It's a virtual museum
A
exhibit.
bracket, like this one.
But this is genuinely cool to me.
It attaches very easily and quickly. And for example, on a bracket, I can put a camera.
Hope the audio is coming through fine for you guys, by the way.
And I can take a picture of it.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't know how much of this, like, me being here in virtual space, interacting with this stuff, is going to add to the experience of, like, you know, if you just go and like look at it yourself. But you know, it's cool. Whoa, I think I triggered a. Wow, I didn't know my model could do that. Yeah, I think I triggered a joy expression using just my voice. That's kind of cool. All right, learning a lot about space and about my own VR moves, VR stuff. So if it wasn't immediately clear what this setup is like, this is a 3D. It's a diorama picture of the inside of the space station, and there's a bunch of exhibits we can click on, and there's gonna be videos and stuff that we can take a look at. Yeah, so that's gonna be cool. That's the workspace one. We've seen that. Let's see what this one is.
This is BioLab, the science rack here in Columbus, which is dedicated to life sciences. It has a built-in microscope, a centrifuge with 2 rotors in here. Over there, 2 temperature-controlled units where we can keep samples at a controlled temperature. And here behind this cover, the glove box. I'll slide it out for you.
It's one of their labs, I guess.
Basically, a glove box allows you to put your hands inside this volume, but using gloves that are built in, and that way you can manipulate samples that could be dangerous and should not come in contact with the atmosphere of the station.
That's pretty clever. Yeah, that's legit kind of clever. Yeah.
And I worked quite a lot on BioLab during the Futura mission as part of the experiment TripleBox.
Yeah, because you kind of never think about that stuff, right? Like, how do you do science stuff in like in zero gravity when everything's floating around? So there's a lot of engineering stuff that goes behind it. This stuff is actually genuinely like cool to me, Yeah, I hope me geeking out like this isn't like I don't know how entertaining this is gonna be for a video, but hey, sharing an experience that not everyone will be able to see because not everyone's gonna own a headset. That's gonna be kind of cool, right? I mean, yeah, you could just watch these videos by yourself, and admittedly, watching me watch the videos through VR isn't gonna carry over the experience as well. But I guess it's just nice to it's nice to everyone, let's just come along and be on the science trip with me. I'm being a little awkward right now.
Sometimes we call it the monster just because it's
cool.
so big and it's actually pretty complicated to assemble. The purpose of Maris is to study muscles, and in particular muscle atrophy in space. And now it's of course all tucked away and sleeping in its rack. But during the Futura mission, I had the chance of actually assemble it and do some calibration work on it.
So yeah, this big thing over here used for muscle studies. Look at all those wires back there, man. Dude, imagine what cable management is like in zero gravity. I imagine some things are easier, but some things are also harder, right? Like you don't have wires all getting wrapped up in everything from gravity, but everything floating around means that things are probably gonna get a little trickier to manage. Yeah, so this program has a few areas. I don't know if you guys can see this screen. Actually, yeah, can you? Oops. I think I moved, did I move screen? I moved areas, yeah. I'm in a different part of the space station now. But I think we did look at everything else in here. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can see what's on my controller, this other module. Yeah, you guys can see it, so... There's a few different areas of the space of the ISS that we can visit here, so different modules and stuff. The real space station is modular. Yeah, this is where we started out. No? Oh no, there's a lot of this. Okay, we moved because I hovered over it too long. That's why. All right. So we were originally. Where? This is Kibo.
This is the GEM airlock, the airlock in the Japanese laboratory.
Well, we can just go around and look at everything.
To move stuff from inside the space station to outside the space station. Most of the time, it's small satellites that are grabbed by the Japanese robotic arm and deployed into their orbit. Sometimes it's experiments that need to be installed outside the station and then maybe in the future even brought back in and downloaded back to Earth. So how does it work? Let's say that I need to move something outside. So what I would do is, first of all, open this hatch. And then there is a slide table inside that slides out into the volume. So I would come here to this control panel, and from here I would be able to command the slide table to move into the actual jam cabin. Then I would have to install whatever it is that I need to move outside, for example, a small satellite, onto the slide table, and there are provisions to do that, dedicated interfaces. Then I would come back here, slide the table into the airlock, and close the hatch. And at that point, with a combination of commands from this panel and these rotary switches that command a number of valves, I would be able to depressurize the airlock, so completely remove all the air that is inside, make vacuum. Most of the air we are able to recuperate into the cabin with a pump to pump it back in. Some of the air, unfortunately, we do lose into outer space whenever we do a task, an operation like this one. Then I would come back here and open the outer hatch. And once the outer hatch is open, slide the table outside. And then from the ground, typically, they would command the robotic arm to come and grab this satellite, for example, for the deployment. Once that is done, the opposite thing. Slide the table back in, close the outer hatch, repressurize the airlock, and it's ready to go for the next operation.
So that's what a real-life airlock looks like, huh? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wonder when they get the replacement air then, you know? Like, do they have to ship it up with the rest of the supplies? Because if they, you know, you lose a little bit of air every now and then. I assume you'd have to, like, restock it and stuff. Right? That's cool. Alright, what's this thing?
We have two windows. They help, of course, in the operations, but also for us, it's extremely nice to have a view to the outside of our Earth. Come and have a look to their external platform and how beautiful it is outside.
Look at that, Chad. That's real. That's a real thing in our real atmosphere. Or
and
outside
from the
our
other
atmosphere.
window we can really have a magnificent view of our real, beautiful planet. Enjoy it together with me.
Man, it's so cool. Right? Is this cool for you guys as well? Cause, like, damn, that's real, you know? That's a real ass picture from, like, from outer space of Earth. It is, space is cool, you know? Yeah, so, and then they got all the flags down here. Yeah. Oh, the picture gets a little weird up there. Oh well. What's this? Vent? An air vent? For aliens?
This is a ventilation return grid here in the jam, and it's part of the intermodule ventilation system.
It's too small for a xenomorph to crawl through.
Throughout the
so we don't
station
have to worry
behind
about
panels,
it.
there are many ventilation ducts and many fans that keep the air moving all the time. On the one side, we have the intermodule ventilation system that allows air to be pushed from one module to the other throughout the station. And that's important because, for example, we need to make sure that all of the air eventually makes it back to the carbon dioxide removal assemblies, or that the oxygen that's introduced into the space station, for example, by the oxygen generation system in Node 3, is spread around uniformly throughout the stack. The intermodule ventilation system, on the other hand, mixes around the air inside each module. And the reason, again, is to keep a uniform composition in every corner of the cabin, not allowing, for example, pockets of CO2 to build, and also to make sure that the air is eventually pushed through the air conditioning system to regulate the temperature and to get rid of excess humidity. On this particular return grid, you can see these two sensors which measure the airflow velocity, and this unit they're connected to transmits it wirelessly to a base unit. The airflow velocity is a parameter we actually measure throughout the stack periodically on ventilation grids, and the reason is that it gives a clue to whether, for example, filters are clogged or not, or fans are working properly or not.
Yeah, the engineering, like, that goes into, like, the air system, you know, actually, not just the air, like, everything on the space station is kind of reused and recycled as far as possible, you know, like liquids, moisture, all that kind of stuff. It's really cool, like, all these solutions they have to come up with, you know. Alright, back to Node 2. Actually, is this where we started out? No, not quite, I think. What is that thing?
In this corner of Note 2, I can show you some of the emergency equipment we have up here on the space station. This is an emergency locker. In the known Russian modules of the space station, typically there are 2 of them in each module. The Russian segment is organized a little bit differently. And if we open the locker, first we find an oxygen mask. We call them PBAs, portable breathing apparatus. And if I had to wear a mask, of course I would turn on the oxygen supply from the bottle and then squeeze in those 2 red tabs. If there was oxygen supply, those straps would inflate and rigidize, and it would be very quick and easy to don the mask. We would wear a PBA in case of fire, of course, in case of smoke. If the ammonia alarm went off, if we suspected presence of ammonia in the cabin. A supply from the bottle lasts for about 7 minutes. If we had to work on a PBA for a longer time, we could consider using a hose. So connecting it with this hose, which is pretty long, connecting it to the oxygen ports. There's a number of them throughout the station, and then we are free to move around because the hose is very long, and we are connected to a virtually infinite supply of oxygen. Another reason why we would wear a PBA, put on a PBA, is if we had to discharge a fire extinguisher. And that's because our fire extinguishers, at least in the non-Russian modules, are based on CO2. So they basically discharge CO2, and the idea is that they will
it's just so cool seeing that thing floating around too.
They will displace the oxygen and kill the fire. And you can discharge a fire extinguisher in the open cabin if the fire is in the open cabin. However, if it's behind a panel, you might need, or you certainly will need, an extension like this one, because you would have to discharge through a fire port like this one.
On the panels at fire
and
ports.
The idea is that each fire port allows you to discharge the CO2 into a fire partition, and theoretically the fire should be contained in this volume and not be spread beyond this one fire partition. Another piece of equipment that we would pay attention to during an emergency is this. It's an inter-module ventilation valve. If an alarm goes off on the space station, be it fire or depressurization or ammonia leak, in most cases the auto response of the vehicle of the space station will close all the IMV valves, or the inter-module ventilation valves throughout the station. But as crew member, of course, we need to verify that they're really closed. For example, let's say that we found a leak here in the JAM, in the Japanese laboratory. Of course, we would want to isolate the module, so we would close the hatch, but we would also have to make sure that the IMV is really closed. Otherwise, there would still be exchange, the Note 2 and the JAM would still be connected, not isolated, and we would still be feeding the leak in the JAM with the air from the rest of the space station, which of course we don't want.
Yeah, that's so clever. Like, I didn't think about like the fire safety implications, you know, but they actually did like cover everything. Like on the individual panels have little holes that you can discharge CO2 into to stop fires if this thing comes out, you know. Safety engineering is also really cool. Alright, what's this?
This is an MWA, a maintenance work area. We have 2 of those. There is this one on the starboard wall of Note 2, and then there is one on the opposite wall over there. We use MWAs typically to do complex science or maintenance work where, you know, it's lengthy, it's complex. We want a nice work environment. We want to be able to secure this equipment. We want nothing to be floating away. This is the stowed position of the MWA. It's tucked against the wall, so it's out of the way. If we have to work on it, probably we want to deploy it, to raise it up to a more comfortable angle. You could secure it, for example, here. Most likely you would want to bring it up a little bit, so it's more like a table. And then let's say I have a piece of equipment I want to work on and I want to secure it here. One option is bungees. So I would first of all attach rings like this one where I find them handy, for example here, and then a second one over there, for example, and then a bungee between the 2.
And look at all this zero gravity engineering.
I could secure, for example, this if I had to do some work on it.
Field of science, I guess.
We also use this general area to keep stuff that we use all the time. We want it handy. We don't want to have it to put it away all the time. For example, Sharpies, stopwatch, flashlights, Leatherman tool, clips, Velcro tabs. Velcro is very important when stuff floats. So if you find something that doesn't have Velcro, you can quickly put a Velcro tab on it, and then it's easy to attach to a wall or the ceiling or the floor. Brake coat. We also keep a couple of tools actually, like this one with a 5/32 socket, and that's because we use them all the time. This is the type of socket that is used to remove the fasteners that secures the front panels of our racks, and that's because a lot of time there is stowage behind the front panels, and so we need to access the volume behind, or occasionally because we have to do some work on the equipment that's back there. When you're done, of course, you want to restow it so that it's not in your way or in the way of your crewmates.
Yeah, like I think what it is that the field of like zero gravity engineering is tickling the same kind of problem solving things that gets me excited as like in game dev, you know. I mean, obviously it's not exactly the same thing, but I think that's where my interest in it is coming from. You know, it's an engineering problem, and then you gotta come up with creative solutions for it, so it's kind of cool in that sense. Okay.
If you have ever wondered how crew members of the space station always know where they are above the Earth, well, it's not because we are all so good at geography, at least I am not, but it's because we have World Map, which is a really cool software that runs on all of our station support computers, SSCs.
Look
we
at
have
that.
about 20 of them.
The laptops run
the space
XP,
station.
I think. Wait, no, that's
and
Windows
it tells
7.
you just that, where you
Is
are.
that XP?
So see, you can see it has
No,
a
that's
map of the
7.
world, and the continuous
We know
pink
which
line
OS
is
the
the
space
current
station is
orbit
on now.
we are on, or the ground track of the current orbit we are on, and then the next two orbits are those two pink dotted lines. So here you can see, and then of course there is a drawing of the space station itself. So you can see that we left South America, we're over the Atlantic right now, and very soon we will be over Europe. You can also make, with World Map, very precise path predictions. You can ask the software to tell you when in the coming days you will pass over a specific site. So let's see, I'm gonna pick a place in northern Italy, that's where I'm from, and I want to know when I will pass over northern Italy. You see, it's in about 10 minutes, and the pass will last for about 10 minutes. It's almost a zenith pass. It's 82 degrees elevation, so we will almost be from Earth, we will be visible almost zenith in the sky. And I say that we will be visible because World Map also tells you where the terminator is, where is the line between day and night. And so you can tell that it's right about there over northern Italy. It means that when we will get there, on the ground it will be night. The sun will have set already. But up here on the space station, for about 10 more minutes, we will be illuminated by the sun. We will be bright. And so on the ground it will be night. You will be easily able to see us, a bright object moving in the sky. For us, of course, those passes are not good to take pictures because we are illuminated by the sun. On the ground it's dark. We only see black. We don't see anything. What World Map can do also is to show you a view of how things will look from your window. You can select, for example, let's say the view out of the window, and let's select the cupola, which is typically where we take pictures from. And this is how things will look from the cupola, from the forward window and the zenith window. Of course, now it's kind of boring because we're over the Atlantic, so you only see water everywhere. It even shows you where our Soyuz is.
Yeah. The Earth is like mostly water, right? You know, you never really think about it until you actually get to it. Alright, Columbus module. Ah, this is where we started out, right? Okay, so we've seen that, have you seen this one? I don't think so, right, chat?
This is Biolab.
No, wait, this is the
Science
lab,
lab?
yeah, this is the lab, right? It's just that then, I guess. Oh, Hey, we got a little interactive stuff. My name is Paxim, an explorer from another planet. I parked my spaceship in orbit and parachuted down to Earth to meet you. Oh, is that just like a little mascot they have on board? Cute. Alright. Unless we're supposed to be spotting him around the area as we go. Maybe that's like a mini game or something. We're supposed to look for him in every room. Maybe not every room, maybe just outside. Okay, so we've seen everything in here, I think. Nothing up top. Okay then. Next module. Robotics area? A joystick.
This is one of two identical robotic workstations here on ISS. The other one is in the cupola. This is typically our backup workstation. From a robotic workstation, of course, you can fly the arm, which means that you can operate and control the SSRMS, the big robotic arm that is outside the station. We use it, for example, to capture visiting vehicles that bring us cargo, or to support extravehicular activities, or sometimes even to move a big thing like an entire module of the space station from one location to another. Recently, we used the arm to move PMM. Sometimes we fly it manually, especially for support of extravehicular activities or track and capture. And in this case, we use the hand controllers. This is the translational hand controller. So x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. And this is our rotational hand controller. Pitch, roll, and yaw. Of course, I can move the hand controllers and nothing happens right now because, as you can see here on the control page of the SSRMS, the arm is off. To give us situational awareness of what's going on outside, we have cameras, and we can route several cameras that are outside of the space station, mainly on the truss, to any one of these three monitors. Of course, now they're off. And to do camera routing, zooming in, zooming out, panning, tilting, we use this control panel. It also contains a lot of controls for the arm itself. For example, very important, the safing switch. If something is happening that is not supposed to, you can safe the arm and everything stops.
That's cool. And yeah, there's like little trackball there too. They didn't mention the trackball, but I saw that. It was a little interesting. Some of these components are probably off the shelf too, you know, right? I like that, you know, they're labeled at monitor 1, 2, and 3. 3x4 monitors. I guess if it works, it works. Right. See what's this one.
This is CVIS, our cycloergometer. I'm sure it doesn't quite look like a bike to you yet, but I will show you that you can actually bike on it. I also want to show you first, though, that it's mounted on a movable frame that is attached to the space station via an isolating system, a dampening system, so that we impart as little as possible of the loads we generate on the bike into the structure of the ISS, and that way we protect the microgravity environment of the space station.
Wow, that's another layer of engineering I didn't think about.
The first thing would be to flip on the switch so that the CVIS computer has time to boot up while I get ready. I've done that already. And then
this is a really cool piece of tech, guys.
The actual bike, space bike, out of its storage position here out of the way into its working position. So just fold it out.
Space exercise equipment is really interesting.
I would put bike shoes on. I already have them for today, but they would be stored in this mesh bag. And then I can jump on the bike. I clip my shoes in. I can use the strap to help me stay in place, although you do also need to hold on with your hands. And then I rotate the CVIS control panel in a comfortable position for me.
Yeah, look at that. It's something you can only get in zero gravity. Like just a floating, it's just a floating like controller like that. Isn't that cool? It's kind of cool, isn't it? I know I've been using that word a lot, but you know, man, this stuff is cool. You know, just like the educational value of these kind of VR experiences, it's really cool. Even if it's like not those full-fledged gaming stuff, you know, this is almost as good as like going to an actual museum. You know, you can like watch it from home. This is a nice investment. is what I mean. I'm very much enjoying this. This device allows astronauts on the International Space Station to perform a wide range of experiments in a fully sealed and controlled environment, completely isolated from the rest of the station. Yeah, it's one of those glove boxes, right? They talked about it. Oh look, there's a panel on the ceiling. Alright, what's this one?
Hello, this is our PWD, or Potable Water Dispenser.
Well,
it's
technically, I guess
tied into the potable water bus.
there
of
is the up
station.
and
You see a
down.
fluid,
All the
quick disconnect
walls
here,
are technically
and this is where the
floors
potable water
slash
comes
walls.
in. And you can get out of it water at ambient temperature or hot water. And with this rotary switch, you can set the quantity of water that you need to be dispensed. Let's see how it works. Here I have dehydrated tomatoes and artichokes. Okay, open the pouch, and this is how they look when they are dehydrated. You see, the package actually tells you what the instructions are to prepare them. So in this case, it says add 100 milliliters of hot water and let it rest for about 5-10 minutes. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna select, as I said, 100 milliliters on this rotary switch. I'm going to attach the package here at the rehydration station.
Yeah, look at that. All the
gonna
food
turn it
systems
on.
and everything.
I'm
All
gonna
this,
flip the switch to dispense.
all this cool engineering solution
And then,
so
of
you
course,
don't
I
waste
want
anything.
hot water. So I press the hot button. And there we go.
Man, that's so cool.
The light goes out, so the dispensing is finished. I can take it off. Shake it, massage it a little bit, let it sit for 5-10 minutes, and it'll be ready to go. Of course, we also add water to our drink pouches. For example, this is some green tea with no sugar, and I usually add 175 milliliter of hot water.
Yeah, you have to like make everything sealed like that because you don't want just like droplets of water floating around. There's no gravity, so it won't spill anywhere. Like, you know,
Again, you
things
wanna
won't spill
shake it a little bit.
traditionally. They'll
And
just kind of float around.
you add a straw. We have a straw package over there. You can quickly grab one. You open it.
There's some like cool
you can
videos
drink your tea.
on.
And then you have to remember to reseal the straw once you're done to make sure that there is no tea floating out. That's it.
Yeah, there's some cool videos on YouTube, I think, about like how spills work in the ISS or in space in general and how to clean them up. So, yeah, it's all very cool. Have you seen this one yet?
This is Cetus,
Oh, yeah, this is the
our
bike, yeah.
cycloergometer.
Okay. Node 2. Wait, no, this is where we came from. So we have. Oh, wait, there's this thing on the floor. Or on the walls,
This
I guess.
sort of table is permanently deployed at this location here in the lab and is used as a restraint system in case we had to administer somebody CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and that of course would be a pretty bad medical emergency.
It's an
It has a number of
emergency table.
straps to restrain the patient. As you can imagine, in weightlessness you cannot just lie somebody on the floor, they will just float away, so you need to restrain them. I'm not going to deploy all the straps, but there are simple straps like this one. And I would like to show you how we can do CPR here in weightlessness. One option would be to try and use the standard position that you would use on the ground. And there are a number of restraints here that are actually meant for the helper if the helper chooses to use this technique. Another option here in weightlessness, I'm going to demonstrate it here on this bag, is to actually go upside down and push off the ceiling with your feet. And it actually works pretty well. It would be my favorite if I ever had to do it, hopefully not, but it would be something like this.
Oh, dude. Extreme
Works pretty
CPR.
well.
Upside down weightlessness. Upside down weightless CPR.
Nearby, we also have other emergency equipment. We have our AED. Is always ready to go with charged batteries. We periodically check that the batteries are still good and that it still works fine. And we also have the emergency medical treatment pack. It contains a number of life-saving items, from the intraosseous device starter kit that would be used to put an intraosseous device in your leg, and then with that we would be able to quickly inject some life-saving drugs that can help during CPR to restart the heart. And then in case the heart restarts and we need to help the patient breathe, there is a number of breathing support items that can be employed.
Real life space first aid kit. That's cool. Alright, I'm just doing a quick scan to see if we didn't miss anything. Alright, I think we're good to go to the node over here. Oh look, spacesuits, EVA stuff.
This is the airlock, or actually one of 3 airlocks on the space station. There is an airlock in the Russian segment used for Russian spacewalks or EVAs, and then there is a small airlock in the Japanese laboratory, which is only used for things, not for people. This is the airlock from which we do spacewalks or EVAs in the NASA suit, which is the EMU. You can see 2 EMUs here, which are ready on the donning station. This is where spacewalkers would put them on. This larger volume is called equipment lock, and all of the pre-EVA, post-EVA operations happen here. Also a lot of work leading up to an EVA, maintenance work on the suits, everything happens in this volume, the equipment lock. You see a smaller volume over there, that is the crew lock. And of course that can be separated from the equipment lock by its dedicated hatch. And that's what we would do on the day of a spacewalk, when everything's ready after about 6 hours of pre-EVA activities. The suits with the spacewalkers inside would be put in the crew lock, the hatch would be closed, and then only that smaller part over there would be depressurized. We would make vacuum. We would recuperate most of the air into the space station and vent the rest into space. And then when the crew lock is at vacuum, then the spacewalkers can open the hatch and go outside. Now, of course, the crew lock, when there are no EVAs going on, it's pretty much used as a stowage compartment, as you can see. But of course, you know, in a time when there are EVAs going on, it would be pristine and completely empty. Now, when a crew member is outside and they're working at a work site, the waste tether can keep them safely attached to structure, but not very well secured in a fixed position so that they can work. They would just rotate around. And for that, we have what we called a BRT, a body restraint tether. It has jaws like that attach to a handrail, so like this. And now it's secured to a handrail. And then I can adjust the position, and then when I'm happy with the position, I can lock it. And it will keep me in place. And the reason, of course, is that the other side is attached to the suit, like this. On the other side of the mini workstation, there is a swing arm, and we typically have a PGT. It's a power tool that we would have a socket, and we would use it to drive fasteners, basically. So a lot of the maintenance work that's done outside is done using the PGT.
Cool. It's a space rivet gun, right? Basically. Well, look at all those mission patches. Yeah, look at all that stuff. I think those are like the patches that went up with each of the different shuttle missions, I think. Yeah, I recognize some of them. Very cool stuff. Oh, I guess all the stuff's over on this side. Alright. What we got here?
In this locker in Node 1 deck, we keep the ISS toolbox, the main toolbox. We have tools in other locations as well. There are spares in Node 2, Columbus has its own little toolbox, and there are many special purpose tools that are kept in many different bags in many different locations. However, in this toolbox, we keep our daily use tools, the one we use on a daily basis to do our science work or our maintenance work. The toolbox is organized in 5 drawers that can slide out like this and rotate. This is drawer number 1, which contains mainly combination wrenches. And I'm not going to show you all, but I want to show you drawer number 2, which is the one that we go into the most, and it's also the most colorful. It contains our torque wrenches, torque drivers, driver handles, ratchet wrenches, extensions, and many sockets. And as I said, it's color-coded. Everything which is blue is 1/4 drive. Everything that is green is 3/8 drive. Everything which is dark color, dark blue or dark green, is metric, and light colors are the English system. And I have to say, on the space station we use mostly the English system, which took me a while to get used to. Sometimes I still get confused. And then of course we have 3 more drawers with stuff like pliers, common
I kind of expected the ISS to be fully metric,
and
but
I guess in drawer number 5 we go a lot to get our static wrist tethers.
I guess a lot of tools on the ground would still be in Imperial, so you just kind of have to work with it, right?
Some of our meals up here are in rehydrated form. You have to add water before you can eat them. Others are pretty much ready to eat. You just need to warm them up. That's the case of thermostabilized pouches like this one. This is one of my favorite meals. It's quinoa salad with mackerel and dried tomatoes. And all you need to do is to put this pouch in the food warmer. This is our food warmer.
Space
so you bring it up, it
microwave.
has 2 sides. You pick a side, put it
Not
in,
a microwave, I guess. It doesn't use microwaves.
close it, and then you turn it on. It was already on in this case. This red light tells you that it's on, that it's actually warming. And then there is 4 green lights. The first one tells you that it's been warming for 10 minutes, 20, 30, 40. At 40 minutes it will automatically turn itself off. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's and they build it out of like you look at the thing and it kind of looks like a suitcase, right? Suitcase casing.
This is part of the emergency equipment of the space station, in particular for the case of a fire. These are called CSA-CPs. We have 2 of them here, as you can see, and 2 more are down in the service module. And the purpose of the CSA-CP is to measure the concentration of combustion products in the atmosphere, in the air. So to turn it on, you press the button, and then eventually it will tell you to release. So I'll release it. And then you give it some time, and it will tell you the concentration of CO, HCN, and HCl. And we know some threshold values that will tell us that there is indeed a fire, and we need to wear masks to protect ourselves. So let's say that somebody smells something funny that smells a little bit like a burning odor. We would immediately go and grab a couple of CSA-CPs to measure the concentration of the combustion products and see if there is really a fire or not really. Sometimes it's necessary to measure behind panels inside of rack volumes. And in this case, we attach the CSA-CP to this pump.
Oh, they have like the
Like
extending
this.
arm, like the probes and everything again. The thing that goes into
And
the
then we
fire
turn
pods,
on the
right?
pump. And the point, of course, is to draw air towards the CSA-CP. And then with this probe, we can stick the probe through fire ports that are everywhere throughout the station. For example, there is a fire port here. We can stick it through. And in this case, I would be able to measure whether there is a fire behind this panel. Let's say, for example, that in this general area, I smell something that feels a little bit like a burning odor, and I want to check. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, a lot of like fire management stuff is about accessibility. Airplanes have something similar to this as well. They have like different, like, well, they used to, one of the old systems, they don't use it anymore, but one of the old systems that they used was like different rated fire compartments, and they were rated on basically how likely they were to catch fire and how easy it is to access them if they are on fire. So here on the space station, looks like they've made every area accessible in the event of a fire, which would make sense because, you know, like, you really don't want to deal with like any of that issues in space where you don't have like much room. You don't really have much ways to deal with it if you do have to deal with it, right? You do all your planning first.
This is PMA-1, the Pressurized Mating Adapter number 1. It was launched together with Node 1, and it is the transition element to the Russian part of the space station. Down there you can maybe catch a glimpse of FGB, which is the very first module of the space station that was launched. Today we used PMA a lot for stowage. We keep in here a lot of pantry items in their own dedicated bags or CTBs. For example, here you can see the disinfectant wipes pantry. Pantry means that those items are not tracked individually. This wipes bag doesn't have an individual barcode, and so I am free to come and grab any disinfectant wipes bag from the pantry when I need one. That of course doesn't mean that I am free to come and grab, for example, a clean washcloth every time I want one. There is an expected usage rate. For washcloths, for example, is 1 per week per crew member. Other pantry items include trash bags. There are different types. These small green ones are used for wet trash, mainly used food packages. And then we have our big trash bags that are used for dry trash. And for some reason they're called jettison stowage bags. I can assure you we do not jettison them. In fact, we keep good track of them. If I was to take a new one out, I would put a number on it, report it to the ground, so that they always know how many we have and they can plan for them to be disposed of when we have a vehicle available that can take them away.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? A lot of this stuff will have to be communicated at the ground in order to plan, like, logistics of it, going back and forth. Alright, we can go this way to Node 3, or we can go towards the Russian side. I guess we'll check out Node 3 first before we head over to the Russian side. Ooh, what do we got here? Ooh. Oh my goodness, look at that, it's the viewport. Alright, we'll check this one out first.
This is the cupola. It's where we keep our main robotic workstation. It makes sense because we can see outside. But it's also every crew member's favorite place. And you'll see why. Let's take a look.
It's the view, isn't it?
Out there you can see the SSRMS, or the Canadarm2. It's a robotic arm. It's parked out there because the ground is doing a survey of the space station. Let's take a peek outside. Here you can see Africa coming up. We have just crossed the Atlantic Ocean. And out there
damn,
is
that's
Africa.
gorgeous.
This is our Soyuz. It's gonna take us home in a few days. Down there you can see it's the starboard part of the station. Those tanks are high pressure oxygen and nitrogen tanks. And behind there you can't quite see it, but there's the airlock where we do spacewalks from. Looking aft, again here's our lovely Soyuz. It's docked to MRM-1, which is of course part of the Russian segment of the space station. We are looking at the entire Russian segment. The very furthest away module is the service module. Moving around. Say hello to planet Earth. Of course, there's the reason why we call it the blue planet. If you take a peek outside at a random time, chances are you're gonna see ocean.
Man, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Yeah, alright. What's this? That's a ways back?
Here in the Node 3 port end cone, behind this bungee net, we keep a number of items that are used on the space station for water balance, which is a very important and very delicate matter. For one thing, we have CWC bags. They're bags like this one, and they are used to store water when this water is not in the system, in the water bath, in the pipes. This CWC, for example, contains condensate. That is water that has not been reprocessed yet into potable water. In the Russian segment, liquids are mainly contained in solid metal containers like this one, which are called EDV. That's also true for urine. The Russian toilet is not directly connected to the urine processing assembly, so urine is collected in EDVs like this one. In this case, we speak about EDVU for urine. Whenever a EDVU is full, we get it from the Russian segment, and we transfer the urine from the EDVU into the urine processing assembly so that it can also be reprocessed into potable water. And the way we do that is pretty simple. The urine is contained inside of this solid container, is actually contained in a soft membrane. So we need to create overpressure inside the solid container so that we can squeeze the urine out of this soft membrane. And then of course we will have a hose that connects the EDVU to the urine processing assembly. The way we create the overpressure is by connecting a compressor into this hole here. Now, of course, we cannot recycle urine 100%. There are some components of the urine that cannot be reused, recycled, and those we call brine, and they are collected into a tank like this one. It's massive. It's probably the heaviest object we handle inside of the space station. And right now, of course, there is a tank like this in the urine processing assembly. Whenever that one is full, it will come out, and this one will go in its place. We have two that we swap all the time. That means, of course, that we have to empty this tank as well when it's full. I've done this, for example, the last time a couple of days ago. I have transferred the brine from this big tank into a EDV. And in this case, of course, the EDV is marked brine only. And this, of course, is final waste. It will eventually have to be disposed of, for example, in a progress.
I see. Cool stuff. Yeah, man, it's pretty. It's really pretty. Alright, this thing.
What you see here is the Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, or ARED for friends. And when we work out on ARED, we do that about an hour and a half every day. It's kind of like weightlifting on Earth. The point, of course, is to stay strong, to counteract the loss of bone and muscle that otherwise would be unavoidable when we are in weightlessness for a long time, like we are. There's two ways of working out on ARED. You can use this long bar here, and it's attached to this arm, and you can lift it like that. And this way we can do exercises like squats or deadlifts. Or we can leave this big bar in its resting position and work instead with this short bar, which is attached to a cable that you can pull out like that. And with the short bar, we do a lot of exercises for our back, but also for our biceps, our triceps, and even for our abdominal muscles. I hope you like our little space gym.
It's very cool, right? It's all this stuff here. I know I keep saying cool, I don't really have any other terms for it. Yeah. It does add a lot, like being in like this 3D space that like gives you a good idea of what the station is like. Obviously, it's not this big. This is a photograph, it's not like a 3D map. So we are like, obviously, we don't get a good sense of the exact scale of the area, but we can get a general idea of like where everything is placed. You know, what does that say? It probably puts there's some notes on it. I don't know what it says. It's all right. All right then. Back to node 1, and then into the Russian half of the space station. transition area, huh? Look at all the lockers and stuff. Cool. Do we have stuff to look at on this side? Not much. On to the next one then. Or I guess it's just this one. Oh wait, there's pictures
Now,
up there.
for half a year, there is a European visitor, which is the automated transfer vehicle. And this is connected on the back side of the space station. So this is the ATV number 3. And it brings a lot of cargo, but also water, for example, air, oxygen.
So they do bring air,
That's
together
pumped
with it.
to the
Makes
space
sense.
station. So it provides the space station with a lot of consumables, cargo, air, water, but also fuel. Behind here is the engine part. So this is pressurized, and behind this wall is the unpressurized section of ATV. And there, for example, we have the fuel tanks, because the fuel, which is also part of the transporter, but the fuel is used for boosting. So we have Progress, the Russian cargo ship, for fueling the engines of the space station and for boosting. But ATV has a great position to put the space station in a higher orbit, because we lose a bit of altitude every time. So here we are stowing it now with things we don't need anymore, be it foam, be it trash, and be it old pieces of equipment. And when it's full, after half a year, it disappears.
So there's a transport. It's a transport module. I see. Alright, not a lot of places of interest on the Russian side. Wow, Chad, look at the wall of laptops down there. All these laptops cooked up there. Do you think they? I mean, they probably don't, but Chad, you like to imagine. Do you think they have LAN parties up here? The world's highest altitude game of Counter-Strike or something is being played up here. We don't even know it. Alright, looks like there's only 2 more things we need to look at. These 2. Yuri Gagarin. I hope I'm saying that right. Very famous dude, yeah. First human to journey into outer space, where his Vostok spacecraft completed an orbit of the Earth on 12 April 1961. It's the other dude. Sergei Korolev. Yeah, the rocket engineer. Right. An icon of Russian rocketry. Both his rocket and spaceship designs are still flying today. That they are. Very cool. Oh, and they have a Orthodox cross up here too. Okay, I think that's everything in the space station. Yeah, I think we've seen everything that we can see. Unless I missed anything. Let's just do a quick scan through again before we wrap up this little field trip. Okay, we're up here. Another port. That's cool. And there's a wall of photos down here too on the closing hatch. And why? That's a sticker of like probably one of the staff, I guess. Oh man. Look at all this. Such a cool thing. Alright. Let's just check, make sure I didn't miss anything else in here. Did we look at this?
This is the PMM, or Permanent Multi-Purpose Module. We just moved it here actually a couple of weeks ago. It used to be on the nadir position in Node 1, and now it's here, Node 3 forward. And it's mainly used, as you can probably guess, to stow stuff. It probably looks a little bit messy to you, but it's not really. I mean, it's obviously very full, and sometimes it's a challenge to reach storage locations. You have to move a lot of stuff out of the way, but it's pretty well organized. Our inventory system records the location of everything. Our storage specialists on the ground are always able to direct us to the right place to find whatever we are looking for. Also, it's not my case, but some crew members like to take their shower in here. For me, it tends to be a little bit too cold for that. But for those who do shower in here, we have set up a curtain. In fact, Butch Wilmore, my Expedition 42 crewmate, he came up with this idea of setting up this curtain that can give you a little bit of privacy.
Oh yeah. So I called the mission patches the space shuttle one. That was a misnomer. I wasn't thinking about it. Yeah, the space shuttle isn't in use anymore. It's space station missions rather. Yeah, so that's more accurate. All right, I think that's everything in the station chat. Looking at the menus, I don't think there's anything else to interact with. So, all right, class. Did you guys learn anything today? Yeah, I think that's it then. We're done with the field trip. Do you have any questions, kids? If not, I guess you're dismissed. Karo Sensei says good night and have a good day. Oh yeah, thanks for joining me. This was a little bit more different than my usual content, I guess. But if you guys enjoyed this, I'm down to do more VR experience like sessions and stuff. This is a free game, or at least like a free VR museum experience. I would totally go VR museum hopping with you guys more often if that's something you guys are interested in, you know. So let me know what you guys think. In Twitch chat, in the YouTube comments, all the other stuff, you know the drill. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys around soon.